بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ورضي الله عن أزواجه وذرياته وأصحابه وأحبابه والتابعين وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. So tomorrow the last 10 will start, inshallah. May Allah enable us to do siyam and qiyam properly. And if you haven't tightened your belt, start. So today I overate the most out of all Ramadan. For tomorrow, next 10 days we won't eat as much. So tighten your belt, literally, metaphorically, whatever it is, in the next 10 days, inshallah. Because the next 10 days are basically the summary of Ramadan. This is where, the freeing of your neck, inshallah, from our neck, from Jahannam. This is where Laylatul Qadr is. The next 10 nights are the nights. So even if we were not doing things right, do it right. Even if you're coming, I would like you to come to Taraweeh, definitely. I'd definitely like you to stay for Qiyam. But also when you go home, please pray 2 rak'ah before you sleep, irrespective of what you're going to do before Fajr. So that's important. Some of the themes that were mentioned real quick here, في Surah Al-Ahzab, and before that in Surah Luqman. Allah Azza wa Jal is talking about the honorable wives, right, of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, and stay in your homes, and all these things. And in the middle of addressing the wives, there's siyaq, sibaq, lihaq, right, in the Quran. The siyaq, the context before and the after. Allah says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Allah wills to remove all your abominations, to purify you, O household of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that indicates that the honorable wives are included in the household by definition, right? And the hadith only specifies al-khamsa, ahlul kisa, without exclusion to the wives. In fact, the wives are included by asala in the ayah. So that's one. If we go slightly earlier, you see about the ahzab, right? وَلَمَّا رَأَى الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْأَحْزَابِ, when the believers saw in the Battle of Ahzab, the Battle of Ahzab was very difficult. Because Ahzab means what? No. Ahzab means bunch of hizb, all nations against you. So what Quraysh did, they got all the nations of the world, all the tribes, against the Muslims. Everybody. The parties. Everybody, they got everybody they could. Because they figured, what happened in Badr? They thought we lost. In Uhud we won. We killed them. We killed half of them. So now we're going to do Al-Ahzab, and we're going to exterminate them entirely. Right? That's it. They thought that's the last thing. Because you saw what happened in Uhud. So Al-Ahzab was very difficult because they brought everyone. And Allah speaks about the mu'mineen, the believers. وَلَمَّا رَأَى الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْأَحْزَابِ, when the believers saw all the armies of all those tribes. Everyone. And then the treacherous ones on the inside. You're not just dealing. An obvious enemy is always easy, because you identify them. Now try to deal with the munafiqeen. But the believers with the Prophet ﷺ, Sahaba al-Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, Allah speaks on describing them. وَلَمَّا رَأَى الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْأَحْزَابِ, when the believers saw all of that, قالوا هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله وصدق الله ورسوله. This is what Allah and His Messenger promised us. You think you're going to believe and you're not going to be tested? You're just going to claim you believe? Yani, okay, I believe and no one will test you. If you say I'm first grade, the teachers will test you. If you say I am second grade, the teachers will test you. If you say I am high school, you'll have to get tested. What do you think? You say I'm going to be a believer and Allah will not test you? Oh, there's going to be a test to see if you really mean what you say. وَلَمَّا رَأَى الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْأَحْزَابَ when the mu'minun saw the ahzab, قالوا هذا, this is what Allah and His Rasul promised us. وَصَدَقَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, and Allah and His Prophet told us the truth. Right? There's always a test. وَمَا زَادَهُمْ إِلَّا إِيمَانًا وَتَسْلِيمًا. Seeing that the whole tribes were against them, Allah says, which means it increased them in iman and increased them in submission to Allah. They truly realized they cannot do anything except with Allah, so they rely on Him and do what they have to do. Very important. If we go a little bit, you can take it and extrapolate and apply. We go a little bit earlier in the ayat that were recited. Luqman alayhi salam. Taban, Luqman is disagreed upon. Is he Nabi? Is he Wali? We don't know. Al-Quran did not say that. As-Sunnah did not say that. So we don't know. He could be Nabi. He could be Wali. Doesn't make a difference really. All the Anbiya are awliya anyway. They are the masters of the awliya. Lakin they say, Allahu alam. Allah tells us in the Quran first that Luqman has hikmah. Wisdom. Hikmah is important. Hikmah and ilm are two different things. Some people, they have knowledge but they have no hikmah. Right? They say the wrong thing in the wrong place in the wrong time. Right? Or they say things to those who are not worthy of receiving that. ما هو حديث علي في البخاري. Right? حدث الناس بما يفقهون. Talk to people on their level that they understand. Otherwise, people will belie Allah and His Rasul. Because if you put wisdom in people who don't appreciate it, they trash it. They don't know how to keep it. They don't know how to preserve it. They don't know how to take care of it. They're not worthy of it. So it's not their mistake only, it's also your mistake. Hikmah, you don't have hikmah. Hikmah is to appropriate it, put it in the right place, not give something to someone who's not worthy of it. Allah forgive us all. لكن طبعا Allah says وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Whoever has hikmah has lots of good. The Quran says. لكن anyway, علماء التفسير, they say what? They say طبعا this all أحاديث weak وإسرائيليات. لكن they say هذا سيدنا لقمان عليه السلام was someone from Ninowy. Ninowy is a place between Egypt and Sudan today. Until today they call it Bilad al-Nuba. Right? It's basically northern Sudan, very southern Egypt. Their own people, right? It is Nuba people. And they say he was a carpenter, Najjar. And that he lived in the time of Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam. So Ibn Jarir Tabari mentions that to others. Who amongst the things they say about Sayyidina Luqman that Ibn Jarir narrated with his isnad, which is weak, he says, how can you go to Luqman alayhi salam? It's a few thousand years back, and we're struggling to go back 1400 years with the asanid. Anyway, Ibn Jarir narrates, he says that Luqman used to be a slave of a person, في النوبة. So his slave master or whatever it is, or his boss, whatever you want to call it at that time, he told them, go slaughter a sheep and bring me the most purest thing, the most pure thing in the sheep. أطهر شيء, the most tahir of it. So Luqman alayhi salam allegedly went, slaughtered the sheep, brought his master or his boss the tongue and the heart. He says here. He says, you told me to bring you the most pure of the sheep. Here I brought you the most tahir of the sheep, the tongue and the heart. If the tongue is tahir, pure, if the heart is tahir, everything is tahir. What else? I said, okay. Another day he told him, go slaughter a sheep, bring me the most khabith in the sheep. The most vile, wicked, most impure. Luqman alayhi salam allegedly went, slaughtered the sheep, he brought him the tongue and the heart. He said, no, last time you brought me this, now you bring me this again. He said, look, this is the most khabith, this is the most khabith of the thing. The tongue, the most khabith, and the heart is the most khabith. This is what it is. So that's why they called them Hakim. He freed him, says, you know, you don't belong to be an employee, a slave of mine. You're a master on your own now. You are Hakim. You have such hikmah, you understand. And this is corroborated in the prophetic hadith, just so we know. The tongue and the heart. الحديث الصحيح ألا إن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. The human being has one piece in them. If it's good, everything else is good. If it's khabith, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, everything else is khabith. The heart. Before the tongue, the heart. Then for the tongue, hadith Mu'adh في الترمذي said حسن صحيح, where Sayyidina Mu'adh was walking with the Prophet ﷺ one day, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, tell me about something يقربني من الجنة ويباعدني من النار. Tell me about something that makes me close to Jannah and distance me from Jahannam. Sayyidina Mu'adh wants to know, he says, special now. And Nabi ﷺ tells him, لَقَدْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ عَظِيمٍ. You've asked a big question. Great question. وَإِنَّهُ لَيَسِيرٌ. It is easy for those whom Allah makes it easy for. Then he ﷺ explains him. Then he finishes the hadith with this. The hadith is long, I don't want to take too much of your time. He tells him, أَلَا أُخْبِرُكَ بِمَلَاكِ الْأَمْرِ كُلِّهِ. Should I tell you about the summary, the bottom line, and all this I told you? He says, yes. He says, أَمْسَكْ عَلَيْكَ هَذَا. He points to his tongue. Hold on to your tongue. قال يا رسول الله. Sayyidina Mu'adh is, Ya Rasulullah, أَوَ إِنَّا لَمُؤَاخَذُونَ. Are we going to be accountable for what our tongue says? What if we don't mean it, yani? We're just saying things. قال ويحك يا معاذ. Woe to you, O Mu'adh. وهل يكب الناس على وجوههم إلا في النار إلا حصائد ألسنة. Isn't that which makes people dragged on their faces to Jahannam but the result of their tongue? Two things, tongue and heart. But it's really one thing, to be honest with you. If you want to reduce it to one thing, heart. If the heart is good, the tongue will only reflect good. Because the tongue is a what? A translator of the heart. Right? Yani sometimes you don't have to say anything. If you feel good about someone, your heart will without you saying anything, mashallah, you're happy. Huh? If you don't like someone and they knock on your door and you look through the eye and you don't like him, without saying A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, your heart is already saying A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. What is he doing here now? He is asking for his money back. What do you think he's doing? That's what he's doing. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi.